So I'm like really late for this. Tried to go online on my laptop, and my laptop just keeps freezing and locking up. So we're not able to do Brendan calls today until I get it figured out. And I am not a computer person at all. So I have no idea if it is because the other day we had 8 tornadoes in the area. I'm fine, but sup, Erica? But I can get on my iPad. I can't get on my laptop. I don't know why, but I eventually just gave up because it's frustrating the hell out of me trying to get it. And I would bring up the screen, I would get on Facebook, and then everything would just lock up. Hello, Rebecca. So I figured I would come on my iPad and chat with y'all a little bit if there was anything anybody wanted to talk about. Give you a little time today. Sorry that I'm kind of sporadic. I'm still trying to get my schedule figured out with multiple jobs on when I have free time. Yeah, 8 tornadoes. I'm perfectly fine here. We just had some branches fall in the yard. No big deal. Didn't even lose power. My power like would flash in and out. Hey, Krista. But my mother she just got power back today. And I don't know if my son has power back. My son lives in one of the towns that the tornado hit. So I have no idea if the tornadoes and the storm we had on Monday, if that is the reason I can't get my laptop to work, or I just have some spyware or something on there. How's the arm? I went to the orthopedic doctor yesterday and they took x-rays, and he says I have arthritis in both the top and the bottom of this arm. He doesn't think that's the pain that I have. He says that everything else looks good. He says it's not a tear. He said he wasn't going to give me a shot for the pain, or that there was no surgery, and he didn't say there was any need for an MRI either. He's saying he thinks it's in my muscle. And it's funny because he was doing things he wanted to know my range of motion, which, I have full range of motion. And then he did those things where, go like this, and he put his hands on top and he wants me to push against him. And I said one of my sisters would have loved his facial expression when he's like, all right, I'm going to push down, you push up. Because my sister has always said from when I was a teenager that I'm freakishly strong. And, so then when I was able to push against him, he's like, yeah, you definitely don't have any weakness. I mean, it's not saying when I do those things it doesn't hurt. I do have a high tolerance for pain, go figure, with all the tattoos I have on my body. So he said my shoulder was really, really tight. And I asked him what he recommends I take for the pain, because, there's times that pain has been so bad. And he said Aleve. And so I bought Aleve on my way home from the doctor. And he wants me to go to a therapist or whatever to get dry needling. So now the scheduler called me on that. Now I have to go twice a week for the next month. I asked the doctor what about going to see a chiropractor, and he said that 90% of his patients get relief from the dry needling. Hello, China. So so I'll start that next week. And then I will try and nag Jeff to look at my laptop to see if there's just something like spyware or whatever that was making it so I couldn't get and do a live to go over more Brendan calls today. I think schedule wise, and that's what I was telling Christopher, that we could be doing these lives on Mondays and Wednesdays for right now, starting at 4 p.m. my time, which, so it's 4:19 my time right now, so around this time, as long as stuff will work, at 4 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays. Those are days that I put in. I work for the census, one of my jobs, and I tell the census that I can work on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but they don't tell you until literally that morning if they have work for you to do. And so far, the last 2 weeks, it's the aliens, yeah. The last 2 weeks, they haven't had any work for me on Monday. And now today I went out and they said, they told me I couldn't start it until 12:30, and then I was back home at 2:30. So I should be able to on Monday and Wednesday. But then also I have to look at now all these appointments they scheduled for this dry needling. But I think the dry needling, yeah, all my appointments are at 8:30 or 10:30. So that shouldn't interfere with anything. Hello, V. So so I'll have to look at what days those all are, and it's like I have another job that I work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the other job I work so like 7 o'clock tonight I work, so I work 7 to 9 tonight, 7 to 9 Friday, and then like 10 a.m. to 2 on Saturday for that job. So it's trying to get all these things to mesh together. Hello, Melissa. Shortly before I was attempting to go live up on my laptop upstairs, I got a call from Paul Kaljuzinski. He told me that he talked to Melissa today, which is good because I email with Melissa all the time, and Melissa has wanted me to let her parents know that, due to COVID at the prison, she isn't sure if she's going to be able to call her parents. She calls her parents on Wednesdays and Sundays. So Paul just talked to Melissa. There are now 27 cases of COVID at the prison. And Melissa told her dad that the officers sometimes wear masks and sometimes don't. So she wants me to do something about it and, to make a scene on it. So, when I talked to Melissa about that before, I emailed an Illinois state representative that I know who works in the criminal justice system, asking for her advice on what I should do, and I haven't heard back from her. So maybe I need to follow up with her to see if she'll, because I want to know what's the best thing to do, but I also don't want anything taken out on Melissa. So I don't know if I need to get all of you to call the Illinois Department of Corrections and say that the inmates are not being treated well during COVID, but that no one is to mention Melissa's name so it can't be used against her. I don't know. My job that I'm working tonight and then also Friday night are with politicians that will be at my house. So maybe I'll talk to some of them. And actually I'm working with 4 lawyers who are running to be circuit court judges in my county. So maybe I'll try and talk to them too. because I'm just not sure what to do. Yeah, we had here really bad storm the other day, and yeah, like I said, we had 8 tornadoes touch down here in the suburbs, and one spot in Chicago, in Rogers Park, got hit. Um, I haven't heard of any deaths. I've seen roofs ripped off buildings, and there's a church. So one town that's near me that a tornado was at, Wheaton, Illinois, is actually got the most churches per capita. And one of the church's steeples was ripped off. Yeah, Karen, going to the media, there is a Facebook group for people who have loved ones in the system in Illinois. So all the different prisons here are having issues, and it doesn't seem like anybody cares. Nobody's making a story out of it. I don't know. I know Melissa got tested the other day, and she's negative. So she says it is real freaky, though, that there's a big, like, hazmat tent that is set up at the prison, outside. So she says it's really freaky, like a movie, seeing this big tent thing where they're doing the testing. But see, also in the media, if you look at when they say how many cases there are at prisons, they don't give the real number. So, yeah, so there's 27 cases at Logan Correctional, which is in Lincoln, Illinois, and that is where Melissa and Marnie are. So, I don't know. So, I'm not sure what to do, because we also, the lieutenant governor here in Illinois, Juliana Stratton, one of her major focuses is criminal justice reform, and not just criminal justice reform, specifically women, and specifically Logan Correctional, where Melissa and Marnie are. So Juliana has gone and visited the prison a couple of times. And it's like, well, you can't just talk about it. You need to actually do something. So I don't know if we should be targeting Juliana Stratton. Is it the warden? I don't know. It's, and it's such a weird time right now in COVID that you can't do, can't do a protest at the prison, or, but even that, I don't think a protest at the prison would really do anything. So I don't know. I really need to talk to somebody and get advice on how they think I should handle it, and then I would put it to you all to, because you need the masses. So, to help the people at the prison. No snooze. I have not heard from Marnie, and I don't expect to. Marnie is, really tied to Tammy, and Tammy removed me from her team. So, whatever. Lisa's asking what happened. You need to be more specific on, because I'm never sure when these questions come in, if you're asking what happened when I was talking about the prison, what happened with Marnie. So if you can follow that up, and then I will answer you. I don't know, Lynn, what the prison population is at Logan. It is the only maximum security prison for women in Illinois. There's another prison right next to it. So she's at Logan, and then there's Lincoln right next to it, and that's men. But it used to be like the first place you went when you got into the system. So I'm not sure how many there are, but her prison is set up where it's, all these different buildings, like a campus outside, so it's not this big hulk of a building that, looks all scary, and, that they're in a room with bars on one side or any of that. They're, in rooms, so, and each building has a left wing, right wing, and center. And I know Melissa is in center in her building. Does she have anybody who could make a video to share about her case, include links to... We could do something like that, Melissa. Yeah. So, I mean, and everybody is so busy with COVID stuff, but they're not caring about what's happening to the inmates. And Melissa having to be stuck in that room, she says they do get to bathe. So, they get out for that, but she's mostly in her room and going a little stir crazy. Snooze, I'm sure Tammy has lied to Marnie. Because Marnie's dad came over here like the week after Tammy removed me, and Tammy had lied to Larry. So I'm sure he's done that to Marnie. And I've thought about I could reach out to Marnie and tell her the actual truth of what went on, but what good does that do? That's her, she's really close to her, so it would just make things complicated, I think, and not worth it. You do not know who Melissa is, Rebecca says. So Melissa Kaluzinski is in prison for a murder she didn't commit. She's another one of Kathleen Zellner's clients. There are two datelines that has been filmed on Melissa's case. One is called The Fight for Melissa, and the other one is Blaming Melissa. You can find the links to those on Kathleen Zellner's website. So go to Kathleen Zellner's website, then she's got a section that says highly publicized cases. Melissa Kaluzinski is listed there. And then she's got everything on there on Melissa's case. So you can find those two Dateline episodes there. Then there's also, we went to court for Melissa a year ago or so, and they put a camera in the courtroom. So you can see Kathleen at work on Melissa's case there. Yes, the cells, Karen, are very hot. The prison is also southern Illinois, so hotter down there, no air conditioning. They do have a window. And then she and her cellmate, Melissa's in a two-person cell. They each have a fan, and so they try to put their fans in different spots so they can circulate a breeze through their room, but it is still it's really hot and really miserable. Yeah, you would think China, but that's not how it works. Well, welcome Helen to MAM Gossip. If you're new here, just so you know, MAM Gossip, I started this group because we've got Stephen Avery Project is a public page, and there's lots of things that happen in Stephen and Brendan's cases that is just kind of yucky, that it's really not the best thing to be putting out there for public consumption. So that's what we put here, as well as we talk about other cases here. If I put another case like Melissa Kaluzinski, you would think people would care about Melissa's case, since she's also Kathleen Zellner's client as well. But if you put that on Steven Avery Project, they bitch. And, you know, what does this have to do with Steven? So we talk about other cases here. We are not, or I'm not, I do not like Steven Avery's family. So if somebody just wants to fangirl out on the Avery family, this isn't the best group, because I call things like I see it. Melissa's case right now is she's got her court date keeps getting pushed because of COVID. So they're waiting on, and that's a problem too about covering so many cases, and I'm not the best at remembering this stuff, on whose response we're waiting for. But she was supposed to have a date, and so I think she's got a date now in September that we're waiting on for her case. So yeah, there's always drama. I'm always a lightning rod for drama, which is really funny too with me working in politics. I have a friend, he's like, I refer to him as my BFF. He's running for state representative, and one of the things I organize is for all the candidates that I am helping, they come to my house. Now we're doing it twice a week, where before it was just once a week. And we stuff bags full of all their literature that then on Saturday we go and put out at people's houses. And he has been going door to door to talk to constituents and hasn't been able to be a part of when we're stuffing these bags. And he's like, I want to be a team player, because I've got all this stuff on a table in front of me right now. For 9 candidates right there. I've got all their literature right there. So he's like, I want to be a team player. So he came here earlier today, and we've got some other, it's politics, so there's always some drama bullshit going on there. And so, sexy bee smiley. Rawr. Yes, Krista, totally need the whiteboards for family tree and important dates. Yes. Good one. So we've had some drama that has happened in politics and where somebody who's running for an office said something that she shouldn't have said. And my friend Ken has always said to me, because there'll be times that I get pissed off at things that have happened, and he's like, well, you're an activist, not a politician. The things an activist can do and things a politician can do are two different things. Activist brain, politician brain. So now she said something she shouldn't have said. I don't have an issue with what she said, but again, activist. Politician can't say that thing. And so then he was talking about what's happening with her, and I'm like, yeah, sometimes, I'm like, I do that all the time. I say things that's kind of brutal, and that brings me to gossiping with Steven's case on Richard McAdams dying. That I had made the post on here where I had said, because somebody messaged me and they said, people are saying that, and everybody always calls him Eric Cozy or however you pronounce that name. I don't call people by their screen names. I think it's weird and like you're being fake and hiding who you are. His name is Richard McAdams. I've known him since before he had a YouTube. He was one of my moderators. So I had private messages with him where I know he thinks Steven is guilty. I know he had said horrible things about the Avery family, but then he sold out. And so he's got this fakey online persona that for YouTube, that he wants subscribers and he was selling shit and all this stuff. I've never liked the guy, and I have stated it multiple times. And so somebody tells me it's being reported that he died. I don't know if it's true or not. You know how that bullshit happens. So I make the post in here in Gossip, and I said, it is being reported that Richard McAdams died. I've never liked the guy, but I'm passing this on. Which, oh my God, to this day, people on Twitter are so ripping into me for it. And it's like, no, it's because I'm not phony. And I'm not one of those people that just because somebody dies, I'm gonna now make them out to be a saint and that they were my best friend. So I didn't want people saying, oh, now you're gonna try and buddy up to this guy now that he's dead. Because it's like, no, I don't like the guy, still don't like the guy, but I'm just passing on that information if it's even true. At that point, don't even know if it's true. Now, yes, Kat, yes, it is true that he died, even though people have told me it's a big rumor that maybe he's not. And that it's some weird thing, but this Avery case is constant conspiracy theories. And it's just hysterical to me. Thank you to all the people that send me the screenshots and whatnot of people talking about me. And, because I'm not on Twitter, so the people who are making it their every day that they're tweeting about me. Love that I'm living in your head. Carla Chase said she's going to throw a party when I die. And people think I'm bothered by it. I'm not. I don't care. Is what I said bitchy? Yeah, it was bitchy. It was, I'm blunt and I say stupid things that, so yeah, did I phrase it wrong? I guess. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that people weren't going to say, oh, now you're trying to be all buddy with him because he's dead. No, letting you know, don't like the guy. Just passing on this rumor that's out right now that he died. So funny that all the people that are just so livid about it. And it's like, he thought Stephen was guilty. But okay then. I love all these people who think Stephen's guilty, and they've got all these little fangirls that think they're the bestest thing ever. All right, so I think Stephen's innocent. Oh, no problem, China. If you message Stephen Avery Project, when you message, if you put my name first, I'm more apt to catch that and then be able to answer you. So many messages go into Stephen Avery Project that it becomes like white noise that, I don't pay attention to a lot of it. Because, a lot of it is people thinking they're talking to Stephen, so it's messages directed to Stephen, and, he doesn't have internet, nor would he, yeah. So you're not talking to Stephen. So yeah, if you're trying to reach me through Stephen Avery Project, if you start your comment with Jax, that might show up in my notification and I'll look at it. But it's not just me who looks at the messages that go to Stephen Avery Project. All the moderators, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but so 4 and me. So there's 4 other people who look at, have access to that. And so, and just like if you see here in Gossip, somebody who, if you see something posted by Stephen Avery Project, it isn't necessarily me. It could be one of the moderators that posted it. Whether or not it's in Gossip or on Stephen Avery Project or the Stephen Avery Project group. Like Michael Ryan posted something the other day, a Rubber Ducky video. See, and I don't care about Rubber Duckies, so I wouldn't be sharing a Rubber Ducky link. But it was Michael Ryan who posted it as Stephen Avery Project. So, and then somebody said something to me about it that I had posted, and it's like, oh, I didn't post it, nor did I know about it. So, um, yeah, so just so y'all know, Stephen Avery Project is 5 different people. Um, so if you started off with my name, I'll know it's directed towards me, and maybe that'll get my attention and I'll look at it. I'm not trying to sound like a douchebag, like I'm all so important, but um, but yeah, China, that's why I was able to respond to you, because I think I was on my phone at that time when a notification popped up and I saw my name. Actually, I was at the doctor's office. So I was sitting in the waiting room, I think, China, when I got that message. So I was just on the waiting room on my phone and it popped up. Yeah, Camilla, Stephen is absolutely innocent. There is zero evidence. There is zero motive. So Stephen is innocent, and I believe so is Brendan. I know there's a lot of people who think Stephen is guilty and Brendan is innocent. And then there's people who think the reverse. But we at Stephen Avery Project and MAM Gossip believe in both of their innocence. And I am not going to debate people on that. So I think it's very weird that the Avery family is just fine to hang out with people who think Stephen and Brendan are guilty. I have no use for guilters. Don't care. You know, I got plenty going on in my life. I've got plenty of friends. I don't need to hang with guilters. So, but they are 100% innocent. And we'll continue going over the Brendan calls whenever I get my laptop for sure figured out. So figure we will be, it'll, the next time I'll be able to do a live will be Monday. So hopefully I'll have that all figured out by then. And absolutely we need to do a, here is the family and how they're all connected. So if there's somebody, since you guys are all researchers, if there is somebody who would like to do that, and you could then send it to Stephen Avery Project, or you can send it to Christopher Weaver, one of the moderators here, because he's a good one to get that to, you know, because he's really good at that stuff. So I would appreciate it. Yeah, most guilters are nasty too. I just think of them all as losers who don't have a real life or real friends and might have actually been picked on in real life. And now they get in this little clique that they think they're cool and popular. And now they're going to bully people. I don't like bullies. So, yep, you're all my friends here, China. What about the bones that are supposed to be Teresa Halbach's cousin? Rebecca, Lynn, I don't know if you're still on here. Lynn is our Carmen Bootwell expert. Carmen and Teresa are not cousins, right? I know it's something that's always said, but I don't think they're really cousins. Christy, AJA stands for Ask Jax Anything. So Carmen Bootwell is a young lady who died of a drug overdose the same day Teresa went missing. And some really weird shit happened with her, like the sheriff's department cremating her for the family. And they didn't ask for it. So, and the bones that were found at Avery Salvage, I don't think has ever been said that they are Teresa Halbach's. It's said it's consistent with the maternal line in Karen Halbach's family. So that's where we go to Carmen Bootwell. So it was said she's like a cousin, but is she really a cousin? Lynn would know, but I don't know if Lynn is still here. Oh, Christy got into a wreck yesterday. Okay, hope you're feeling okay. And what's the damage with your vehicle? Camilla believes both these boys. You've never seen anything like this before. Well, there are plenty of documentaries for people who have been wrongfully convicted. You know, the cases may be a little bit different, but it's all bottom line, same thing, corrupt law enforcement, lawyers, judges, you name it. That's Melissa Kaluzinski, the case I was talking about earlier. So Melissa Kaluzinski worked at a daycare. A 17-month-old child. Car can't be driven and left side of body is in pain. Oh, I'm so sorry, Christy. 17-month-old boy that was in her care. I'm trying to make this as short as possible. Okay, so he died. All right, to make it short. And Melissa was brought in for questioning. She was interrogated for hours. And she asked for a lawyer. They denied her a lawyer. They were calling her a bitch. So like she was able to call her dad, and her dad was on the phone, and he could hear them calling Melissa a bitch on the phone, which, oh my God, you know, sets Paul through the roof. Melissa has a low IQ. And so eventually she just said what they wanted her to say, because like we hear Brendan in the calls, she knew she wasn't going to get to go home unless she told them what they wanted to hear. So, she's been in prison ever since. She's been in for 12 years now? 11 years? Oh, Christy, the Dave Alvalo case. So sad. Storms coming again, China? I don't think we're having anything here. It's sunny here and 86 degrees. Yuck. So the YouTube video, now I've done YouTube videos on my Justice with Jax YouTube page on Melissa. There might have been, hello Amanda, I think we've done lives here in MAM Gossip on Melissa's case as well, so you would have to look in the videos in this group. And so Melissa's 2 Dateline episodes, one is called Blaming Melissa, and the other one is The Fight for Melissa. And you can find the links to those on Kathleen Zellner's website. So go to her website, then you click on her highly publicized cases, I think is how she worded it. And then that's where you can find Melissa Kaluzinski. I think she's got 3 cases, Stephen, somebody else, and Melissa, listed in her highly publicized cases. So, but, and I've done lives before with Melissa's dad. So you could find that as well. And we actually did a live, was it a year ago? Probably, it might have been even more than a year ago, where we had Melissa on speakerphone. And so supporters were able to ask Melissa questions. You know, nothing about the case, but, you know, in getting to know Melissa better. And Melissa is just the sweetest thing. And she's gorgeous. She loves to play with makeup. And, and she's like, people will say, why do you have this makeup on? You're in prison. And she's like, because I put it on for me. She likes it. And so just some of the times when I visited with her, because as you can tell, I'm not really a makeup person. I have nothing on my face right now. My hair, I'm letting it go gray. And my hair was purple at one time. So the ends of my hair is like this pinkish reddish color. Because I don't care. I look how I look. I really don't care. I'm not here to impress anybody with my looks. But Melissa enjoys putting on makeup. And, she does such gorgeous things with her makeup. And I really hate to, if you Google Melissa and you look at some pictures of her, they're horrible pictures that that were taken intentionally to make her look bad. Melissa's got... sounds much lower. Yeah, because it's just my iPad with no microphone. Sorry about that. And I talk really loud. I'm deaf in my left ear, so I talk loud to begin with, but I can try and talk louder, I guess. But Melissa's got skin sensitivity, so she will break out in rashes and stuff. And it's like when I visit with her, it'll flash red across the side of her face and her neck, and it'll be red for a little bit, and she'll scratch, it itches her too, and she'll scratch it and it stays red, and then it'll go away, but then it'll pop up over here, so she gets these blotches. And that's something I've asked her about before too, of going, is that something we can help you with canteen wise, that do you need a special soap or lotion or that you can have? Rebecca, yes, you can write to her. I did post her address in Gossip before. I can post it again, because that's something I still haven't made the thread for, that I said on Monday, because Melissa asked me to buy her. Melissa is very into her Catholic religion, and you can have at prison a necklace with your faith. So you can have either the Jewish star, or because I know Marnie is Jewish, and so she wears that Star of David, right? That's what that is. Sorry, I'm not religious. Or cross. And so I've been saying to Melissa for 2 years now, do you want me to get you a cross necklace? Because she's mentioned it a couple times, and I know they can wear it in the prison. Do you want me to get you a cross necklace? And she kept saying, no. And now she emailed me the other day, and she's like, because I end each email with going, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. So then she said, if you wouldn't mind, getting me the cross necklace. And I could tell she felt uncomfortable in asking. And so then I called the prison and asked what the rules were. So the rules are, it has to be only one color, no jewels. It has to be solid. It can't be bigger than 2 inches. It can't be expensive. So I bought her like this gold plated one. Let me get it. I'll be right back. So it has to be something simple and not expensive. So I bought her this one. And I wasn't sure if she wanted gold or silver. So it doesn't have, so it's got the hole at the top for the chain to go through. So it doesn't have the other thing that typically breaks. So that's what, so I have to, and they told me I have to mail it to her just like you mail anything. So I wanted to make a thread for you guys all to write messages of support for Melissa. And I would include that with this and ship it up to her. Yes, Melissa, who was accused of killing Benjamin Kingham. He was 17 months old at the daycare. And Also, in talking on that case with, okay, so she was forced to confess to a crime she didn't commit, and they doctored evidence. So the x-ray that the defense was given for her trial was completely blacked out and you couldn't see anything. And one of the medical people, I can't remember what his title was, if it's coroner, medical examiner, whatever it is, I don't know, had testified that they saw blood and they felt the crack in his skull. So Melissa was found guilty, and then Kathleen Zellner comes on the scene, but also it's Melissa's dad will not rest until he gets his daughter out. And, you know, so he's looking under every rock, you know, no stone unturned for Paul and getting his, you know, his baby out of prison. And so he was able to find the real x-rays. And so now when you see the real ones, and you could just Google this, Melissa Kaluzinski x-ray, and you'll be able to see it, that because there's one picture that you can find when you Google image it, that one is completely blacked out and then the other one's on the side, and the kid's head looks like a giant light bulb. Okay. So what had happened was, a month prior to this incident, Ben had come to the daycare and he had a lump on his head and he was kind of despondent. And the daycare was like, no, he can't be here without a doctor's note that this has been seen, you know, because the daycare's got to protect themselves, that they can't be blamed for this bump on this kid's head. So the kid went to a doctor. There's medical reports of that. And so that month prior, Melissa did not even work at that daycare. It was a chain. And so Melissa was at a different location. And then she got transferred to that one. So when you see the real x-ray and you see the kid's head looks like this giant light bulb, his brain was swelling. His brain was swelling from when he got that bump on his head the month prior. So this is a tragic accident? Question mark. Because I do know a couple of different things that are possible on how that boy got that original lump. That I don't think I'm able to say either of them, and not trying to sound like a douchebag. And then also Kat, yes, the kid he was a known headbanger. So the kid would sit on the ground and whip his head back and hit the ground. So, and then something to tell you on the corruption, when you want to talk about, like, look what happened to the coroner in Stephen and Brendan's case. Dr. Rudd was, and I always want to say Paul Rudd. His name is Tom Rudd, but I always think Paul Rudd because I love Paul Rudd. So he was not the original. It was then when the new x-rays are out, he was the current coroner, and he then looked at it and he's like, oh yeah. And so he changed the death certificate for Ben from murder to undetermined. Major that he did that. Coroner, you have to be elected for that position. You don't even have to be a doctor to be coroner. You just run for it, and if you get the votes, you're now the coroner. So when you run for office, in order to get on the ballot, you have to have people sign a petition. Depending on the position and blah blah blah, there's different amount of signatures you need on your petition. You are supposed to be the one that gets these signatures. That doesn't ever happen. People like me who work for the campaigns, we go out, we go door to door, go to events, you know, prior to COVID, and we get people to sign these petitions. Then they have to be notarized. The actual candidate has to be there when they are notarized. Well, Dr. Rudd wasn't there when one of the sheets was notarized or something like that. And that's illegal. But it's one of those, nobody ever does anything about. Debbie, I won't be live that long because I have people coming to my house in a couple of hours. So we won't be on that much longer, I wouldn't think. Um so because Dr. Rudd did that technicality thing, um they actually prosecuted him for it. They went after him, and it's because of him going against the corrupt Lake County. How dare you change this death certificate? So we're gonna make you pay. And this is when too Dr. Rudd said, and he was running as one party. Because if you run as a Republican or a Democrat for a position, there's X amount of signatures you need. But if you run as an independent, you need like double or triple. That's why there's people, that you want to be one party or the other because the rules aren't as difficult for you. But Dr. Rudd had said, okay, if my bad that this happened, it was a total screw up, then I won't run as that party and I'll run as an independent. But so they went after him, and prosecuted him. I actually went a year ago that he's trying to get clemency because now he can never be coroner again as long as that's on his record. If he gets clemency, he could run for coroner. But that's showing you Lake County and the corruption and that it's not just Manitowoc. Manitowoc is bad, but Lake County, Illinois is the wrongful conviction capital of the world. Lake County Major Crimes Task Force is like super horrible. And hoping, because, it's 2020 and a major election year, the guy who is the current state's attorney there in Lake County is up for re-election. And there's another guy running against him who has a really good shot of beating him. And due to my political connections, I know his campaign manager. And the guy himself sent me a Facebook friend request. So if he gets elected in November, maybe this will be something that will help Melissa and Marnie's cases because that state's attorney is the one who continues to prosecute them, so maybe if the new guy gets in, he will see. Well, I know he knows of the corruption because I've talked with his campaign manager. Because his campaign manager in 2016 managed another friend of mine. So I've talked to him about Lake County. Sorry, Jeff is now messaging me. So hopefully that will be good for Melissa and Marnie and countless others who have been wrongfully convicted in Lake County. But that's why, putting on my political... Oh, and now somebody's going to be here in 30 minutes. Already did, as it's on the porch. Somebody's coming here in 30 minutes to pick stuff up, so I'll have to go when that person gets here. Somebody coming, somebody who she's a lawyer running for judge, and Jeff does the printing for her. What was it? Give her invoice too. Whatever. What was I saying now when I got distracted on that? And let me scroll back to your comments. Melissa's interrogation is so upsetting, it's as bad as Brendan's. That's what I tell people, that if you're interested, if you got here because of Making a Murderer and Stephen and Brendan, Melissa's case is Stephen and Brendan all rolled into one. And the to date line on the case doesn't even go into everything, because Melissa's dad was involved politically in Lake County and made some enemies. So was Melissa targeted also because people didn't like her dad? Melissa, just like Brendan, couldn't hurt anything. Melissa loves children, loves animals. Just like Brendan, when I used to talk to Brendan on the phone too, it's like Brendan would never go, he's not hunting, he's not killing anything. So you think he killed and raped some woman? No. Oh, Helen, that's what I was thinking. Any possibility elections in Wisconsin could help Stephen or Brendan. That's where I was going to put my political hat on. That's why you need to vote, and you need to vote the entire ballot. You need to be looking at who is running for state's attorney, who is running for circuit court judge, who is running for coroner. So you need to see where those people stand on things like wrongful convictions and whatnot. So I'm not even, going to get into party affiliation. We're not going to go full political like that. But voting is so important. So I don't know if there is anything. Jeff keeps messaging me. I don't know if there's anything in Wisconsin that can really help them. Brendan's case, he's gone. Brendan's one is tough because of his confession, and he's gone through a lot of the court process, all the different so Brendan's tough. Good, Kat. You vote and look at the entire ballot and do your research. Here in the States, you can go to your local political party, whether or not it's Republican or Democrat. So like here in Illinois, out in the suburbs, we have things, a position that's called precinct committeeman. And then there's also a precinct captain. So those are people that are assigned to, all the different areas. And so they're supposed to be knowledgeable on all the campaigns, all the elections that are in your area. So like you can request a sample ballot from them to, and I'm not sure what the date is when the sample ballots for 2020 are going to be done. It's a number thing and I don't remember numbers. But you can get a sample ballot and you'll also be able to get that online. A sample ballot once it's available. And then, Google those people's names and look into them. And a lot of people vote in a presidential election, so this will be a big one. But a lot of people then just vote for a president and then that's it. They don't do the whole ballot front and back, and request a paper ballot, not the machine. The machines can be messed with, so you want the paper ballot. And actually what we are advising people to do is you need to do the mail-in ballot. Oh, thank you, Tom. And hello, Bryce. Don't be afraid of the post office. You can mail in your ballot. Or if you're that concerned about, if you are concerned about the post office, you can deliver it to your election commission or your polling place. So, and they're going to have, I know here in Illinois, we're going to have these big drop boxes that are going to be cemented into the ground for you to put your ballot in, so people are not going to be able to steal the ballots. You just don't know in time of COVID. Getting to the polling places, And, with it being November 3rd, you don't know what weather's going to be, blah, blah, blah. So just do the mail-in ballot. It is perfectly safe. But you need to, look at everybody on your ballot and vote the whole way down. Because, if you have a better state's attorney, a better coroner, a better sheriff, it can mean the difference on these cases. Look at frickin' Uyghur is a sheriff now. Debbie just spotted lightning. Yuck. So, I don't want to delve too much into politics because, I don't want us to fight over that here. We fight about things like the staircase guy killed his wife and it was not an owl. I'll fight you on that. That's a proper fight in here. Staircase guy, guilty. He's guilty. It's not an owl. But we will do a live on Melissa. Maybe I'll be... It's hard for me to set up a live with Melissa's dad. It's not an owl, Miley. I'll punch you. Because Paul's not technically savvy, even worse than I am. So I have to go to his house to do a live with Paul. And he's a half hour to 45 minutes from me, depending on traffic. And he was also in an accident recently. So, and that's something we were discussing today too, because he's got a rotator cuff thing. And so we were comparing, injuries, but, maybe I should schedule to do a live with Paul, and then the two of us can talk about what's happening in Melissa's case, and it would be a way to talk about what's happening with COVID at Melissa's prison. Yeah, the owl. I mean, and he killed two. This is the second one. Oh, they both fell down the stairs in 2 different countries. Yeah. Nope. And that's something guilters, they think we just think everybody is innocent. Nope. Staircase guy is guilty. Plenty of people are guilty. O.J. Simpson. You can fight me on that. O.J. Simpson is guilty. Who else is guilty? The Jinx. What's his name? Robert something or another. Oh my God, if you have not watched The Jinx, watch The Jinx. Guilty. Oh my God, Casey Anthony should have the death penalty. I'm not for the death penalty. I used to be for the death penalty. Now I'm not, once I see all these wrongful convictions. Casey Anthony is so guilty, and death penalty. Dano talked to the son and one of his daughters. Who? Staircase? Lori and Chad are guilty. Yup. Lots of guilty people. West Memphis 3, innocent. Totally was obsessed with that story. Those poor boys. Just like Central Park 5, innocent. Oh, Casey Anthony is so guilty. Oh, she's so guilty. What a piece of shit that woman is. And we can do more lives where we go over other cases. It's just right now I am so slammed with having 3 jobs. But all my jobs end with the election. Well, actually, the census ends now, was going to end at the end of October, but now it's ending at the end of September. Thank you, Christopher. Christopher put the links. He just messaged me. He put the links for both Blaming Melissa and Fight for Melissa. So you guys can check those out. But we've done lives watching both of those before. I think they're in here. I don't know if they're on them or if they're on the Justice with Jack's YouTube page. I don't remember where we did them. But we can always do them again because we get new people who watch or, you know, come here all the time who are new to the cases. So, Michael Peterson. You really, really disagree? Do you think it's an owl? Dano. Do you think it's an owl? Oh, I get so mad on that one. I know there's a lot of people that think that guy is innocent. I think he's so guilty. And I went to watch The Staircase again because what did it come out on Netflix or something that then was going to have unreleased footage or something in it, and I started to watch it and just couldn't do it because I get so mad on it because I really, 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 I don't like that guy, and I think he's guilty. Two women dead and one missing. Are you talking in The Staircase one? Dano's doing the douchebag. I can't say. Darlie Rudier. Is that how you say it? See, and I think Darlie is guilty too. But I know there are people who say there's more to that. And I've never looked really in depth into that case. And I think there's something else on it out there, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Scott Peterson is guilty. Now, I did see something that was showing the other side, and I could see why maybe people would think Scott Peterson was innocent. But no, he's guilty. Scott Peterson is guilty. So is Drew Peterson from here. He's from town over from me, from Bolingbrook. My mother is the same age as Drew Peterson and went to grade school, junior high, and high school with him. And she said he was always a douche. So he killed 2 wives and was a cop. Corrupt cop. Drew Peterson, guilty. Stacy Peterson is somewhere in a blue barrel. Guilty. Yeah, he's nasty. He's, ugh. Yeah. So, my mom's posted a picture of a high school reunion she went to. And so she's actually right next to him in the high school reunion picture. Really, Dano? Very interested, because everything I've seen, guy is so guilty, and how can 2 women both die from falling down the stairs and not be, it's not an owl. Yeah, maybe you're thinking of Drew with the missing lady, because yeah, there's one that has never been found. Too many Petersons, right? So, all right, I'm going to have to let you all go because now the girl should be here any minute to pick up her printing. So, sorry cutting this short and that we weren't able to go over the Brendan jail calls. We've only got like 100 and something calls. Yeah, Drew Peterson's in jail, and actually he tried to hire somebody to kill the judge in his case from prison, and got caught. he tried to kill the judge and the prosecutor. Yeah, he tried to hire that out. So yeah, Drew Peterson is in prison currently. Um, so, but so the next time I'll probably go live will be Monday at 4 p.m. Central Time. I'll talk with Paul about setting up something to do a live with Paul and tell all the new people about Melissa's case. And for those of you who have been around for a while, it'll be a refresher that I'll just have to go to Paul's house and we will do a live and we'll talk about the COVID and all of that. So, all right, I'm off and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, yeah, times 300. Dano's going to get the last word. No, I'm going to get the last word.